Last night we talked about it almost in a retaliation to the U.S. involvement in Yemen or their support of Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia's bombing of a funeral over the weekend that killed 140 people. Last night we discussed the cruise missiles that were shot towards U.S. Navy destroyer ships. And the captains and the ships, they were able to defend themselves, and no one was hurt. The ships were not damaged. The cruise missiles did not make it to the ship. Two missiles were shot on Tuesday, two missiles were shot on Monday, and a single missile was shot on last night. Last night we discussed why, some of the reasons Yemen may do this. And one of it was, only rational thing I can think of was to bring attention to America's involvement in the war. I almost slipped up and said civil war because that's what people are trying to describe it as. But this is an onslaught from Saudi Arabia. It's not a civil war. And thinking maybe Yemen was bringing attention to this by drawing America into it. Yesterday, we discussed from the Wall Street Journal the fact that America has decided to place their involvement under review because of the funeral bombing that killed 140 people. And we discussed that this could quickly suck up or end all goodwill towards Yemen from the United States. Now, that last point, I think, is kind of irrelevant only because who cares about your goodwill when you're helping Saudi Arabia bomb us out of existence? Also, yesterday we reported that Navy officials discussed retaliating. Well, before we left last night, they retaliated, and they shot. Let me get the. So the same warship that was targeted on Sunday was also targeted again. The Pentagon said that its destroyer, the USS Sanity, launched Tomahawk cruise missiles targeting the coastal radar sites controlled by the Houthi group in quote-unquote self-defense. The Pentagon press secretary Peter Cook said in a statement, "Those who threaten our forces should know that the U.S. commanders retain the right to defend their ships, and we will respond to this threat at the appropriate time and in the appropriate manner." It's the same exact language that Trump used about suing revealing that, the same exact language. Interesting. So no sooner than we left discussing this last night, the U.S. did retaliate. They blew up radars. So essentially they are neutralizing the Houthi rebels' ability to target the destroyer. There was another account of what happened from NPR that really shows you the kind of attitude that America has with regard to their involvement in Yemen. NPR reported that America considered these attacks to be unprovoked. And that's a huge slap in the face for anyone who realizes or is remotely aware of what Saudi Arabia is doing to Yemen. It is anything but unprovoked when you consider the United States is providing logistical support to Saudi Arabia in their proxy war with Iran inside of Yemen. So it just shows you the attitude and the very screwed up attitude that America carries in a lot of regards to our involvement overseas. That's the nicest way I can say it without profanity.